through the door.
Or David Gravel.
I'm gonna say what?
I'm about to say I messed it up already right off the bat. I say Logan Schuart. He's one, right? Yeah, David Gravel. Sorry, I screwed that up right off the bat. But welcome to Let Her Eat podcast. We've actually got Bo with us this week. We had some bad timing on our part last week because he was headed off to church camp, and and it didn't matter. We had some technical difficulties anyway with the video, so we were a little late putting that out. But we're back at it again. We just got back from Batesville, Arkansas. We ran the ASCS race, and Brad was with us, and I guess we'll get into that. So, take us through your night. How did your night go?
Well, I didn't unload good at all, so went out hot lapped. I felt decent, like car wise, but didn't feel great speed wise. And like the ASCS, they run a really efficient program. So you go out, you hot lap, and then they only had 24 cars, so you have 3 groups. And so you go. We were in the 3rd group, so when we're coming off the track, qualifying is basically beginning.
Yeah.
And so you don't have a lot of time to make adjustments. They've gotten
a lot better about that.
Yeah.
And so a lot better.
And so we don't have a lot of time to make adjustments. And I don't have a World of Outlaw pit crew. I got Tony and my dad. So we didn't have any time to make any adjustments for qualifying, and was just not even close.
Super Jim couldn't change nothing in time.
Oh, not at 68. Slow it down. 68. So. But yeah, so we qualified 7th in our group, which put me starting 4th row inside of the heat race. Got to 6th for a minute, fell back to 7th, ended up 7th. So I had to start 20th in the feature, and really just kind of did no pressure, just kind of threw a setup on it, and the thing was rolling in the feature. And we went 20th to 7th. I got to 6th for about a half a lap there, but early in the feature, like by lap 10, I was up to 9th, I think it was, from 20th. So the car really came alive in the feature, and ended up with a 7th place finish, got the hard charger. So I was happy with the way the night ended.
Okay, so what exactly did you change?
Oh, most of this a little bit of stagger, which probably what you probably were close to having anyway. So
I was gonna say I'm gonna write it down. What did Super Jim do to that? Because it did. It looked really good. I unfortunately got to sit in the infield and watch, but no, you were rolling pretty good. I know once things got kind of strung out, everybody was kind of running the top for a while, and then I noticed you and the 88 were sitting there racing back and forth for a little bit, but
early
you
on,
looked so good coming off the corner. Like you may have struggled a little bit in the center, but like as soon as you hit the exit corner, your car just squatted and it really went.
We were really good. Like the first 10 laps, it was still pretty slick. Everybody was kind of, diving for the bottom. I was just kind of going at the top, just kind of going wherever they weren't. I could go middle, bottom. I could really put my car anywhere. And then it started taking rubber about lap 13 or so.
Mm.
And after that, it was pretty much impossible to, make a pass. We all kind of got strung out after that. So, breaking the moves early was what kind of got me in that position.
Brady looked like he could roll the bottom pretty good early, like before it took rubber. He was one of the few that could really run the bottom. If you watch the highlights, Brady could really run the bottom.
Late restart we had after a red flag. For my tire didn't fire off real well. I don't think anybody's really did, because the 88, he got to roll in the bottom for about a lap, and then we got the track hot and the rubber laid back down, and we kind of all went back up there at that point. But overall, I'm pretty happy. Like we took a $8,500 motor that Tony put some Dragon Claw injectors on, and went 20th to 7th in the feature. With a lot of really good
against guys that do it for a living.
Yeah, so I'm really, really, really happy with how the night ended.
Yeah. Well, you recovered well. We did not. We started out pretty similar, the same way you did. We unloaded and we just didn't have it. And whenever I noticed when we come off from qualifying, I just told Dad, I was like, I just feel like car just doesn't have any guts. It doesn't feel like I'm going fast at all. It just feels slow. The car was handling way too good, in my opinion. It just as slow as it was going, it was handling so good. I thought that something ain't right. and the timer said the same thing. You know, we just wasn't that fast on the scoring sheet. So
shoot, we really weren't, but like 4/10 off, which compared to our qualifying overall, I mean, the slowest guy was a whole second off.
Yeah.
So we really didn't look that bad. The car just wasn't getting around the track.
That's what I'm saying. Like the car was handling so good, but we just didn't have any speed. And like I said, looking at my race pass when we could get it to work, you could just tell, like, yeah, we just don't, something's not right. And I could feel something wasn't right. But changed the gear after qualifying because I'm like you, I don't have the Outlaws working on my car. Super Dave and Bo over there, they couldn't change gear in time for qualifying because we had to turn around and go right back. I was actually kind of happy that they're running a good show like that.
You being in the first group was actually way more difficult because the hot lap sessions are a green-white checker.
Yeah.
And so first group, then you got 2 groups behind that doing 6 laps total. You basically got to come in the pits, check your fuel, make sure you're not going to run out, and go right back up. Much.
That's pretty much what we had to do. That's pretty much what we did. We checked fuel, made sure we were good, and Dad's like, he's like, I'm going to change the gear. I said, you don't have time.
Yeah.
I stayed in the car, and I was like, you don't have time. We got to turn around and go right back. And Bo checked the air in the tires, and we went right back. Didn't qualify terrible. I mean, we got to start third in heat, but just didn't get going very well. We fell back to fifth on the start, and that's where we pretty much stayed. And then once we changed that gear, went back out for the feature. We did like you. We changed a bunch of things on the car, and I could tell immediately, like the character of the car was so much better. It was actually squatting and going, whereas in the heat race, I just felt like I was sitting on top of the racetrack, and it was just like I might as well have had a radius rod for a shock on the right rear. It's just constantly just staying up, and it wouldn't get down get down on the right rear. But made some changes and went out there for the feature, and it was way better. I could tell, like, hadn't even started the feature yet, and I could tell it was a lot better. But that didn't last long because before the race ever even started, I about run over 3 or 4 people because the throttle hung, and I got it back. So I managed to miss Derek in the 12, and it was somebody else. I don't remember who, but I got the throttle back up and rode around, and see, at that point I couldn't focus anymore. Like I wasn't paying attention to the racetrack. I wasn't looking around. I wasn't trying to think about like a game plan. The only thing on my mind was like, okay, was that a fluke, or have I got like a problem? And I don't know it yet because I kept thrashing it, feeling it out some more with my hand like ready to go on the kill switch, and I never felt it again until we started the race. And when we went back green, and I don't know if it had to do with the speed or what, but when we went back green, it done it again going into 1. And at that point, I just decided I got to get off the racetrack, and I just kind of spent the next couple of laps trying to get out of everybody's way and looking for somewhere to go. It's probably a good thing I didn't do it before Hayden did. I don't know if going off like he did was the answer or what. I decided to duck in. There was a little exit right there in the infield going into 3 that I ducked in, but before Hayden, he took a pretty gnarly hit.
That was a crazy crash.
We talked to him, me and Bo and Will talked to him right after the race, and he claimed, he said, I was off the racetrack. I don't know how he hit me, but if you watch that replay right there,
he wasn't quite off.
If you watch that replay, he wasn't quite off the racetrack. What did you think about that? Do you think it could have been easily avoidable?
I don't know. I mean, your closing speed is so fast. It could be very hard. It could be very hard to judge how close you actually are to them. You're going so fast there. I could see something like that happening. Going down that front straightaway.
Yeah, you keep it'll show the replay in slow motion, but Hayden said he was off the racetrack, but you watched the replay, he clearly wasn't off the racetrack yet.
Yeah, it was a freak deal. I've never seen not that I can recall seeing something like that.
Yeah, so Seth blows a tire going into 4. He gets off the racetrack, and at the same time, yes, see, there goes Seth.
It destroyed Hayden's car too. I saw the torsion tube rack was ripped out of it.
Yeah, it mangled that car, but
they're both really lucky they didn't get hurt. They
yeah.
really bad.
Well, what's his name? Is it Austin?
Yeah, Austin Gosling.
Yeah,
he was shook up.
Yeah, he was definitely shook up. Which, watch this. I mean, Carr does a complete wheel stand. I mean, he knocked the fire out of him. Yeah, like you said, they're both lucky to not be hurt. But I think, and the 16 catches on fire, does he not?
I don't know. By the time I got stopped, he was already out of the car and stuff. I don't recall if he did or not.
Somebody had said he was on fire, but either way, it was a pretty gnarly wreck. But I just, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I was there. I had the same visual he did. I just feel like if he was going that slow, he'd have noticed it and been able to just maybe put a little bit of a slider to the top and miss him. But I guess maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't know what that was about. But so yeah, it was but it was a rough weekend for us. Unfortunately, we just had some bad luck. Really had some bad luck all year, but we're gonna get it turned around. But I'm glad somebody had a good weekend.
Yeah, I needed that. For sure,
yeah,
so.
yeah, awesome. All right, yeah, well, I want to talk about Houston's next. All right, so night one, we had. I thought I wrote this down. So Baston, did you notice Baston was actually fighting for the win with Larson, which surprised me because he has been, to me, he's been not even close to being in the picture all year long.
Oh, he hasn't been.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the picture at all. And every time Corey Day's around, drives the same car, same team, shows out, wins races, at least competitive, and Baston's nowhere to be seen. So I was at least relieved for him that Baston was up front and, showing out a little bit. But Larson was able to hold him off. Williamson got in the top 5. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he raced there for quite a while. Last couple of years before he did the Outlaw deal, he would run Houston's.
Oh, he did?
Like 2 years, they would run Houston's quite a bit. So he's got a lot of laps around there. I expected him to really be able to show what he had there because Williamson's he's going to be good. It's just your first year out there, and so it's going to take a minute, but he'll get there eventually. So I knew he would be. I thought he would be pretty good here at Houston's with the laps that he has there. He showed speed.
Yeah.
I was really surprised Ryan Timms wasn't really much in the hunt because he's won 2 races
this
year.
A lot this year.
He's run every weekend pretty much, and I really expected him to really show. But this track is super hard to pass on. You got to qualify good. If you don't qualify good, it's a very long night.
Well, it was really narrow. Like if you watch the highlights all week long, the track never really widens out. Like it widens out a little bit, but it's really fast, so it's hard to pass.
It has to get super wide, or it's just very, very difficult. That's why Baston qualified good on the first night, so it was in the hunt all night. The rest of the weekend didn't qualify good, and then you're just kind of hoping for the best at that point.
Qualifying matters a ton. I don't care what series it is or the format; it's always going to matter. Probably sometimes more than a heat race even.
Yeah, but I mean, the qualifying good killed Rico all weekend because he had to start 8th in the heat race.
They inverted.
Yeah, they inverted the top 8, or maybe 6. It was 6 or 8, but
I think it was 6.
He went backwards in the heat race every night from 6. So qualifying good did him no good, and it did him no favors. But that deal's tough. I would love to see him do a little track change to it because I think it could be really awesome. It just needs a little tweak. But I mean, he does great stuff there, so it's hard to complain. But it's
kind of the reverse of Batesville. So Batesville needs it to be just a tad bit wetter before the feature. It needs to be have a little bit more moisture.
Yeah.
And it looks to me like Houston's needs to kind of be the other direction. It needs to be a little bit drier.
Yeah,
Batesville would be a really good racetrack if
it was really fun
rubber
to that rubber too.
But Houston's kind of the opposite. It just needed to be just a tad bit drier.
The thing about Houston's too is they've been way better this year, but previous years, it's subject to take rubber as soon as it gets black a little bit. So that's some of the overwork you see is to try to keep that from happening, especially 4 straight nights of racing on it. Right. They don't want it to take rubber, so you kind of have to, weigh your options. If I want to be heavy early, good late. So, it's just one of those things where somebody's going to leave unhappy.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Well, I was about to say, it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. Just go ask Clayton Allen. I'm sure he gets fussed at by somebody no matter what happens. Whether it's hooked up and rough or it's super dry and all the way to the wall. But otherwise, it was still really good racing though.
Baston got rolling there right there at the end. He got to ripping that top, and I thought he was going to make it happen. But it just came up a little bit short there at the end.
I didn't write down who it was, but there were several pretty hard crashes there too. Some pretty good wrecks this weekend. Actually,
I know Ian Matson got together with Riley Goodnow on the start of the heat race. He took a pretty big ride.
Yeah.
He got tagged a couple times while he was crashing.
It was a black car. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was like a black car, and the wing wasn't powder coated. It was just like aluminum. They left it aluminum, but he had a pretty fast crash. He flipped like twice in the air without ever touching the ground.
Jai Corbett,
Is that who that was?
guy. Yeah.
Man, it was bad. That was a really bad wreck, but it was pretty good wrecks that happened this weekend over there. But the racing was pretty good. As fast as it was still really good.
The features were pretty good every night. I felt like they all kind of came down to the end for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah,
especially the one with Larson won. That was the best one of the whole weekend.
Loved every
that was the best one.
Never cheered so hard for Spencer Mason in my life.
That was the best race of the whole weekend. Definitely my favorite. I didn't wear I didn't wear my Larson shirt for you. I wore my Mickey Walker shirt. But
yeah, I was really surprised too. When Sheldon finally got going, but the first two nights he was way off the pace, and he's won the 100,000 a couple of years ago. He's won that race there before. He's usually pretty good, especially on the smaller tracks. But he struggled early. They got going on the final night, the big money night, but I'm getting my way ahead of you.
You're fine. So speaking of the Larson deal, so I guess it was Thursday night. Thursday, we're texting back and forth, and Larson starts on the front row, and he's over here crying, texting me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, just write the freaking check."
I told him I'm going to bed.
He said, "I'm gonna go to bed. I don't even want to watch this because I already know what's gonna happen." So he's over here crying the blues about Larson's gonna win back-to-back races, and it was quite the opposite. He actually fell back. I think he started second and fell back to fifth or sixth or something like that. That was the night Kofoid won the first race. That was the first race he won over the week. Kofoid had an amazing week. He won $362,000 in 4 days.
And I'm sure
his worst finish was third.
I'm sure he probably gets 50% of the winnings, so he had a good week.
Yeah. Well, if he powder coated, he'd make a little more than that. I'm just kidding. He could not make more than that.
They were on the money all weekend. Yeah. He was really good in traffic. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. And that's probably the best driving I've seen him do in quite a while.
He definitely looks. He's more mature. Like his decision
throughout the year. He's definitely gotten better too.
Yeah, his decision making
this year
is way better to me than it's ever been when it comes to these races. And what the thing about he was in this position to win this race 2 years ago, right?
I think it was last year.
Was it last year when he blew up? Had the Toyota?
Or maybe 2 years ago he blew up, and then last year he was right there, and he got together with somebody and crashed. I can't remember who it was, but he's been fast here the last.
Yeah, he's been a threat, and ever since he got in that Roth car, but you can just tell he's gotten more comfortable, and he just looks calmer. He looks way more mature.
Yeah, they're starting on the racetrack. He's second in points right now, so they're starting to put it all together. This point.
Second in points, but how many points back from gravel?
Too many. Like 60, something like that.
Still unreachable.
Pretty much impossible to overcome with the point system you have.
Yeah.
It's pretty much done at this point.
Yeah. I didn't look at the Hayden and I were talking earlier, but he said something about the points were, and I don't have it wrote down, but points was actually pretty close to the high limit.
The payout?
Yeah. No. He was talking about the points, like the actual points. It wasn't but like a 35-point gap.
Oh yeah, high limit is close.
High limit's actually got a good point score.
They are going on right now. The top four were all within like 30 points of each other a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure what it is now, but they were all pretty close.
Yeah.
So that was night 2. Kofoid won.
Yeah, Kofoid. So Kofoid wins night 2. Baylog was second, and then I wrote down.
Baylog led a lot of laps.
He did. He led a good bit of that race, and I also made like a little note. Schoenberg actually ran really good that night too.
Yeah.
Just kind of was surprised me a little bit, but that's good. I was happy to see him run so good. But then the night that everybody wanted to talk about was night 3 when Bill won, and he's kind of like, to me, he kind of reminds me of us.
No,
kind of like us.
For sure. Yeah.
And he's done everything the hard way. he's got his hands in everything. He's doing everything he can himself, and
You got one crew guy out there with him.
yeah. I saw him last year when they came to Riverside. I mean, it was just him and one other guy out there doing the work. So that made a lot of people happy.
He don't have any like massive big money sponsors or anything like that. He's got a couple of them, but nothing just crazy with a bunch of money. So the week he had, he's definitely able to put that back towards, putting it towards his season instead of stressing about that. So maybe you might see a change in him now that he has a little bit of financial stability these next couple, the next couple of weeks. He don't have to worry about where am I going to get the next check from. He was able to stack up a little bit to get him through the next couple of weeks.
I'll be able to race a little harder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he'll be able to not have to worry about that. And you might see a different Bill Baylock these next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, it's different whenever you can go run these races like this against these guys, and then you're consistent. So I mean, he was consistent all week long. It's not like it was a fluke night. He was consistent up front all week long at a really tough racetrack, and a place where your car really matters. When you got a track that's that fast, that hooked up, I mean, car does matter. So he got a really good piece under him, and then he ran well all week. So his confidence is I feel like it's going to carry him. He's just going to keep getting better and keep getting better. I think from this point. I'm definitely rooting for him because, like I said, he just reminds me of us. But yeah, that was pretty exciting. And then I wrote down, let's see, Coforth was second that night. Williamson got third. And you talking about Tim's earlier. Tim's ended up eighth. So, and he made the show the next 2 nights. So I mean, he wound up kind of showing up. I don't know what happened in the first couple.
I just really thought he would be there for top 5-ish runs. I mean, he got some good runs at the end. I just never.
Yeah, but who's he racing against?
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely
definitely
every
Sunday show
level for sure. No doubt about it. But he's been really good this year. He's won Knoxville races, Houston races. He's been really good. So
yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it's the best in the world that are all there. So it's going to be a different level you got to get to.
Yeah,
for sure.
Doing what Bill did was so darn hard, and I mean even Tim's hasn't been around these guys all year long, and I still stand by the thing about you are who you race around kind of thing. So Bill's with them all the time, and he's able to step it up that extra level. And with Ryan, he's not there as much. I don't know if maybe that has something to do with it or not, but still, like I said, he wound up with 2 top 10s at the end of the week. So I mean, he started picking it up. Saw that Randall had actually made the show, and he had a pretty tough going up until that point. And then Saturday night, Kofoid wins the $250,000. It was actually like a really good race. Bill was there the whole time. They fought for the lead a couple times. Had a pretty good little race there. I thought through traffic, Bill was going to end up getting him, but Kofoid just kept his cool, and he managed to truck on.
Traffic definitely decides pretty much every race at Houston. That's where it's. I mean, unless you catch a caution right, when it gets to traffic, that's who you're going to find out is going to win these races because it's hard enough to pass.
Yeah.
Then you got to try to pass the lap car who has no idea you're coming way faster than they are.
Yeah.
You got to make the right move. You make the wrong lane choice, well, then you're going to get smoked on the top, or you make the wrong lane choice, you get smoked on the bottom. So
was you able to watch it like on the way home, or was
it? I didn't get to watch it.
You didn't get to watch it?
I had to watch back.
Yeah. We were in the trailer. It was me and Hayden and Will. We're riding in the back of the trailer, and Bo and Dad's up in the truck, and we're back there riding, and Hayden's got it on his phone, and right as they were taking the green to do the green-white checker right there at the end, his phone quit. We got to miss the end, and then his brother ended up texting him, saying, "Hey, well, Kofoid won," or whatever, something like that. And that was how we found out. But we watched pretty much the whole thing. We missed the very beginning, and then it come back, started working again, and then we watched everything up to that last green-white checker. So we missed the darn end.
This event, you hear people talk about it all the time. They say it's not a crown jewel, or whatever. Well, I don't know. Maybe Todd Aquarium's just got more money and he knows what to do with, or maybe it's successful now. But they announced on Saturday night that this was going to be $150,000 to win the Wednesday, Thursday portion next year, and then on Friday, Saturday, it's going to be $350,000 or $300,000.
What makes the race a crown jewel? Like, why would it not be a crown jewel?
Well, I guess because the track doesn't have that prestige for everybody. So Like people want to say it's not a crown jewel. You saw that stuff on X saying it's not a crown jewel.
I haven't heard that at all. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't be. It's
Well, I
one of
mean,
the highest.
it's obviously it's X, so you're gonna have
True,
just random people out there saying this. But
well, I mean, if it's literally the highest paying sprint car race of the year,
I mean, I do feel like
consider that.
I do feel like for the drivers, they do think it's a crown jewel. I think if you went and polled average fans, they would not say it's quite there yet because it's still new. Like Knoxville has that history of, 70 Knoxville Nationals or whatever it is. Well, this is still kind of in the beginning stages. So if you keep it going, 20 years from now, everybody will consider it a crown jewel. It's just kind of the way those events work is in the beginning stages, nobody really looks at it that way.
Well,
The drivers all want to win it, of course.
Bo's kind of newer to the sport. He's been around it for a year, but I mean, what makes it a crown jewel to you? Like
That's what I was going to say. Legacy.
legacy.
Yep. Legacy makes a crown jewel.
Yeah, so that's
So
what
you don't your major races and it goes across the board, not just in any. I mean, it's not just dirt. It's any form of racing. Your crown jewels have been around for years and years and years and years. I mean, Indy 500 is a crown jewel. Why? It's the longest.
Yeah.
It's been around since what 1909 or
I
something
think
like
so.
that.
Yeah. And then you got. I think about Le Mans. Le Mans just happened a couple weeks ago. That's a crown jewel race if you're in that world because it's been around for. I mean, since they started racing, basically.
Yeah.
They've been racing that race, and so yeah, when you have a new track come in, payouts are great. Come from the drag racing world, the biggest payouts. So a lot of them come on the street, much less at a track. But your biggest track, I mean, it could be some podunk little 8-mile track that pays out more than anywhere else. But I wouldn't call that a crown jewel race.
Mm.
Your crown jewel races are your big, always been around, always going to be there.
That's why I think it'll take 20 years till you keep the money like this, keep it growing. I think eventually you will get there because the facility has everything you need for it to be a crown jewel. It has plenty of camping spots. I believe they even got stuff nearby you can even stay if you wanted to. So it has the facility to be a crown jewel. It's got the money to be the crown jewel. Now I think you just got to put time into it, like you said, to build a legacy up of it where people want to come and run it and win it. And be like that.
The conversation's still going to be there. Is it a crown jewel then? Because then 20 years from now, if it keeps doing it and they keep upping it, well, if your other legacy tracks continue getting better and staying, are they not going to maintain that crown jewel title?
It'll
and
never, I mean,
it never lives up. You kind of have to lose some along the way to keep it. But if it's a crown jewel, is it really going to ever go away? Is Knoxville ever going to go away?
no, I was gonna say,
I'm about to say Knoxville never go away, but what I was.
I think you
What
just add to the list of crown jewels at that point.
Yeah, you can say it's a list, but I mean, to me, what do you think is a harder race to earn or to win? Do you think it's Huset's or Knoxville? See, I kind of look at it as more of a difficulty thing, and the money thing. I mean, yeah, I consider to me, once you throw a big payday at it like that, you're kind of making it a little bit of a crown jewel, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But-
it brings all the cars.
Yeah, like you're bringing all the best, if all the best
That's
showing up.
That's what I said. I think the drivers, they consider it a crown jewel because
Yeah.
of the money, but if you polled the fans, they wouldn't consider it a crown jewel just because it doesn't have that history yet or the
Yeah.
prestige around it.
Well, that's their problem.
Like that.
Well, you go into NASCAR, Daytona's a crown jewel, but it's one of the worst races on the schedule right now.
Oh yeah.
But it's never everything is still there. Its attendance is still up, even though it sucks.
Well, that's
Racing wise,
that's what we
it's
talked
still
about
just a
last week. It's like Knoxville's really not. The racing's really not that
No,
great. It happened to be last week. We thought it was actually pretty good. But like anytime I've ever sat and watched it, I've never actually just been like super involved, interested in it because it was usually one guy ran away and you might see some cool things happening here and there, but to me, Huset's is like a harder earned race and it pays more. So I don't know. I would consider it up there, but I guess like you said, the fans wouldn't.
Yeah, I think it's more.
and there's two perspectives
there
there
are two
too.
perspectives on all that.
A fan perspective and a driver perspective. Drivers are going to want to go where the money's at.
Yeah.
It's a cool event. And I hope they can keep growing it.
Well, I mean, it's got guys like me. Like, I know I don't have the money to really just go, but I would go for the experience. I'd want to see how we could, line up and see how we could do. I know it's a long way from here, but it's got me interested. I'd like to. I feel like I'd stand a better chance there than I would Knoxville.
Oh, for sure.
Because Houston's is at least like more our expertise. It's what we're around more. It's got that short track feel. Whereas Knoxville, I've always said, I feel like you have to go and like relearn how to drive a race car because it drives so different. It's not the same thing. So at least if I went there, I feel like I'd at least feel like I know what I'm doing.
I feel like we should finish some races before we.
I agree. I agree. If we could just finish one right now, maybe I'll consider. Which we have. Surely we can finish a race between now and a year from now. Surely.
Oh, I hope so.
If Super Dave and Bo could just get the car running, and I didn't have no issues, I might keep the throttle from sticking. I mean, hey. And y'all ain't off the hook either. I got Will and Hayden was there. I had more people helping me this past weekend. I had more trouble. You explain that to me.
I got in the way. They say you're trying our best. And
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
I guess so. But anyway, that was a lot of fun to watch. The racing was good out there this week. Well, what about you want to talk about NARC?
Yeah, Dirt Cup.
Yeah, Dirt Cup. Dirt Cup was this past week too. There's a lot of big money this past week. You had Skagit. So Skagit had what they call the Dirt Cup, and a surprise winner was Thursday night. Levi Klatt. Nobody ever really heard of him, and
he's a Washington.
Yeah, he's a local. Been racing there not very long. I said that was his 16th 410 start, and he won. Night one of the Dirt Cup.
Not to take anything away from him, but the format definitely helped him out as well. So it's a point format. So you qualify good. It's nothing. You start 8th in your quick time. You start 8th in your heat race. 7th. So the quicker people, the slower people on the front of it. But for the feature, they do an invert as well. Like I think High and Point Man starts 16th, and they work their way up all the way. So he was probably like 16th, 17th in points. Got started on the front row of the feature, which it played into his favor. But hell, he still won the race.
Yeah.
I'm not taking it away from him, but
you still got to do it.
The format definitely played into his favor, but it was cool to see a local guy, go win the first night of Dirt Cup, which is a big race for that area up there. And he was, they weren't close to him at the end of the race, so he was fast. He was able to pretty much check out on the field.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, if you sit there and watch it, like, it's not like the racetrack was real fast, one lane. Okay. You can just tell us. It's okay.
I just don't want to have to edit it out.
No, you're fine. But you're going to have to mark that now and edit it out. But that's fine. What was we talking about? We were talking about that. The racetrack. So, like, if you sit there and watch the racetrack, it's not like it was really fast and hammered down one lane. It's not like it was easy. He still had to maneuver through traffic. He still had to pick the right line at the right time. He still had to do some moving around. And
this is another facility where a guy that's pretty pivotal for racing, Kevin Rudine, owns this place, which owns the 26 car at Peck, and he's put a lot of money and time into this thing. This track is way better than what it used to be, and every night had good racing. They were able to pass, and you could come from the back. You could do anything on there. I know Tanner Holmes, he posted a video or posted a picture of his Lefferer, I believe it was, and he had 60 laps on it, and I would have run another 60 laps. It looked really, really good. You don't see that in 410, especially when a track.
I was gonna say, look at the racetrack.
Gets to blowing a little bit of dust like this.
Yeah.
You don't really ever see them survive, but whatever they've done to the surface, it's really good. The race is good. It's not hard on tires for the most part. And he's done a lot of.
So what you're saying is that TMS and Wheatland need to call these guys.
Oh man,
and see what kind of dirt they have hauled in there.
TMS just bulldoze that thing to the ground and call it good. Yeah. Wheatland, I love that place. I'd go burn up tires there anytime.
Really? Well, I love the place too, but you said I hadn't been there since 21. I think 20 or 21. But you said you've been there and it's burned up tires pretty bad every time you've gone.
Well,
but they changed the dirt up.
In 2020, I went there in the Mobs car, and I ran the same right rear, which I didn't make any of the features. Maybe that played a different fact. But that weekend, we had to do heat races qualifiers, last chance, B mains. Then they did features. Like we raced a ton of races, and I ran the same right rear almost all weekend. And I maybe none of my left rears were hurt. I just changed for stagger. We didn't really burn up any tires that whole weekend. But then after that year, every year we went back after that, it would eat up tires all the time. I don't know what happened between all there, but I'm sorry, I'm getting way off topic here.
No.
But yeah, whatever happened after 2020, it's never the same. We went back over there. It was a tire grinder after that.
Yeah.
But I still love it. I love going there, the facility, the environment, like everybody's right there together the whole weekend.
It's kind of like I-30. I-30 kind of got to be that way toward the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Well, until short track come, and then it would be hammer down all weekend.
Yeah. I don't want to speak ill of the dead. R.I.P. I-30 Speedway. I missed that place, but yeah, I mean, it was one of my favorite racetracks. But really, toward the end, every time you go, like you said, if it wasn't short track nationals, it just eat the tires up. All right. So night number 2 for Dirt Cup Skagit. It was actually probably one of the better races of the whole weekend, in my opinion. It was really good. Sanders and McFadden going back and forth. Sanders put on a last lap pass on McFadden for the win.
It was a beautiful pass.
It really was. It was
Sanders was ripping the top. McFadden, I guess, could probably hear him. Moved up, so then Sanders went to the bottom, kept showing him the nose, got McFadden to move back down, and then just ripped around him on the last lap. Like that was textbook of how you pull that off right there. That was a pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really. Are you pulling it up right now?
Yeah, I'm going to the 7 laps to go mark.
Here, go a little bit further if you can. I want to watch the pass. That was the best. That was the best part of the whole night.
Probably about
4?
Yeah, probably about right there.
And see, McFadden recovered pretty good because the night before he turned it over.
Yeah. On the first night.
Yeah, on the first night there, he destroyed it. So here we go. Was that 3 to go? It's kind of hard to see from here.
Yeah. 3.
Easy. You okay over there?
Yeah,
I've been
I've
wondering
been
how-
crackling this whole time.
Okay, maybe I did remember this right. I was like, I swore he moved down. Yeah, okay.
McFadden hits the top.
I misremember this.
So Sanders is in the 2, McFadden's in
down
21.
there
It's the last lap.
Yeah, this is the last lap.
and chop him.
Chops him.
That was beautiful. That was exciting.
Yep. Timed it perfectly.
That's the one I'm glad I stayed up for.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
Yeah, because they're, 2 hours behind us?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
2
so
hours. They don't get dark there till about 9:30, so
Yeah.
they can't just start super early. Up
Yeah.
there.
But
But
yeah,
that was good. That was a really exciting Skagit night number 2, and got you fired up for night number 3 there. That track was on money like this all night long.
Yeah, it was
Or
really
all
good.
weekend long.
Yeah, that's one of the places we talking about track surfaces or whatever. This is definitely, I think, one of the better racetracks when it comes to surfaces. It usually always puts on a good race. So then the next night, our boy Tarrant Holmes put on a pretty good fight with Trey. He had a really good night. I thought once
he had a good weekend. He was in the hunt all weekend long. He just couldn't seal the deal.
Yeah, I really thought once he got the lead that he could pretty much manage the race from that point, but he only managed to lead 3 laps.
So they
had a caution.
They had the red flag. They had open red. And
it
really killed him because Trey Starks talked about it. He said his motor wasn't running real well. So he thinks the air changed up during the race, and so they had that open red. They got to mess with the fueling on the motor, and he said after that red, it was like a different race car for him.
No.
And so that open red really killed Tanner because he got out those 3 laps. He had opened up a nice lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he got back going, his car wasn't that great either. It was kind of bouncy on the right rear when they got going again. It took him a while to get maybe burn off a little bit of the fuel they put back in it to get the car back to where it was good again. But Starks was lights out after that red. Whatever they did with that fueling situation, it brought that car to life for sure. And it was cool. I mean, I like Tanner Holmes. I would like to see him win, but to see the hometown kid win the $100,000 was really awesome. I mean, his victory lane was probably one of the best ones I've seen with the fireworks shooting off in the background.
Yeah, it was.
That was one of the best victory lanes I think I've seen before. That was really cool.
It's good. He's kind of one of those you're happy to see win anyway. I like Trey.
For sure. He's the guy that shouldn't be winning these big races.
Yeah.
Not to say he's not a good race car driver, but you just don't see that anymore with a local guy
Wait.
wins the big races like this.
It's
you
like
never see it.
Bill Balog, kind of like we were talking about earlier about Bill. He's kind of like that in that same area. He's one of us.
Yeah,
You know, he's
like,
up there winning.
Yeah, you don't see those things happen anymore. So it's always cool when it does happen, especially for a guy like that who he races the Skagit every weekend. That's the only place he races now, and so to be able to pull off that win in front of all the hometown fans, like, well, I love to see that type of stuff.
Yeah, that would be like one of us, you know, going over to Riverside
Yeah, for sure.
and
When
you know, have 100,000 win race, and all these guys show up, and one of us manages to win the race.
yeah, that's the same. That's what we kind of like dream of or think about, like especially growing up as a kid. Like that's what you think about, and you actually got to live it. So you'd love to see that type of stuff.
What would you do with 100 grand if you won?
Oh man, I used to-
Riverside puts on 100,000 win race. Clayton Allen pulls out all that money that he hides. on his
Honestly, I thought about that today as I was riding around in my big truck. I was like, how would I allocate all this money? I was like, well, get Kim's student loans paid off for one. Get us a new vehicle. I was like, damn, I'm running out of money quick right
run
there,
out.
boy. I was like, okay,
But
quick.
if there's a stock car race at Riverside that pays 100,000 to win, what are you doing?
Buy another stock car.
Buy- You're gonna buy a better one?
No,
What do you mean?
I'm just gonna buy one for somebody else to drive.
Who's gonna drive it?
I don't know. I got a couple people in mind.
Yeah.
It's gonna be my rent a ride.
You're around. Hey, well, you're making an investment then. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
You're gonna create an asset.
Yeah.
Hey, look at you creating cash flow with racing. I like it. That's not a bad idea. That's actually a good idea. I think we could just start another car, and then that can be the renter ride. I think
Yeah,
it's
here I did. I put it on the podcast.
We don't need any more renter rides in
Should have kept
racing.
that.
Do what
Now
now?
we don't need any more renter rides in racing.
Oh, you can always use a little bit more door banging.
No. I'm not about the. Hayden's over shaking his head. Yes. No, I'm not about the. You two get along great. Maybe you two should start like a late model stock car podcast.
Well, see, that's why I like the late model stuff. I got into the late models during the COVID year when racing was first coming back. Like the late models were the first ones to come back on Flow. So like I started watching it. Like all my buddies, Jeremy Ray and all them guys, they love the late model stuff.
Mm.
And like the COVID year got me into it. Now I watch all the summer national races and stuff they've had going on.
Was it COVID or was it Larson? I'm pretty sure it was about the time Larson started running late models. You started watching.
Definitely stop.
I guess it
because
was.
of Larson.
I think it was.
Never
I-
because of Larson.
I secretly think you're a closet.
That's
Larson
probably the
fan.
only time I've cheered for him was when he won Port Royal in the late model, but that's about the only time I've cheered for Larson in the last 5 years.
This is recorded, right? All right. I want you to clip the part where he said, "I cheered for Larson."
Yeah.
It's going on TikTok.
And that it needs to be in the intro.
Only at Port Royal. That's the only time.
That was honestly that was the only late model races I probably watched. I never have been into it, never watched it.
And then
But I kind of got like a bad. My first experience of watching the super lates was at Riverside, and it was awful.
well, that's a bad place to watch it.
It was
It's
awful.
like a bunch of boats running around it.
My first live one I seen, I was a long time ago at Motorsports Park. That wasn't that great of a race, but the last couple of years we've done the USCS deal at Talladega. They run the 50,000 to win late model deal there. That's the first time I've seen late models live, and it was really badass. Like to see them in person is way better than watching it on Flow Racing or whatever. It was really bad.
Well, I gotta admit, so when we went to Marshalltown last year, the whole way up there, you were talking about like going to Marshalltown. I'm like, why on earth are we going up here to watch? In my head, I'm thinking, why are we going up here to watch this crap? I don't care about this. But like I said, I've only ever watched it like Riverside or all these little short race tracks or whatever. And then we go up there, and it's actually good. Like the racing was good.
Marshalltown's awesome.
Like that is probably one of the best dirt tracks that I've ever watched those cars run around.
Every race was good. The stock cars were
Yeah.
good. The mods were good. Like everything was. Like, if you ever get to go to Marshalltown, like that should be a bucket list place for anybody to go because it is badass.
Now, we can cut this out if you think so. But the funniest part about that whole night there was we were watching this girl fight for the lead, and I don't remember her name. But it was her.
I think it's Ryan Gustin's sister.
I don't remember who it is. I just know that this girl was in the modified. She led the whole thing. I mean, she held off apparently some pretty good guys. She gets out in victory lane. I'm thinking, dang, she's really, really good. She's talented. puts her arm around her wife and kisses her, and I thought, well, that explains a lot.
I'm pretty sure that's Ryan Gustin's sister, I believe is who it is.
She's probably more of a man than most of the guys out there. But yeah, that
What was crazy about that too is like when she was coming to check her, like the whole front straightaway was on their feet. For her.
Yeah,
I was like,
they
I
were
love,
going nuts.
I love to see that type of energy. I see people, fans in the stands all the time, just sitting on their hands, even when something exciting happens, just nothing, just chilling in the stands. Like the crowd was into it. That's what I loved about it. The crowd was into it. The racing was awesome. A car went off the end and hit a car in the parking lot. Like we got to see a whole lot of stuff that night at Marshalltown.
All right. Well, this isn't on the show sheet, but I kind of like where that's going. What do you think we need to do to get Riverside to that point? Because we care about Riverside, because Riverside's home for us. So what is y'all's opinion? How do we get Riverside to that point?
Start putting some money up. You gotta go out. You gotta go out, and I'm not talking about money for racing, but you gotta start putting some money up on the walls. You gotta go out and you gotta say, hey, I need $1,000, and this is what you're getting for $1,000. You're gonna get exposure to this many folks every night. When they walk in the door, they're gonna see your name on it. A lot of things, a lot of small marketing things can get Riverside into the next level where they can offer a little bit more to racers. And if you got more racers coming in, I don't know if it needs to be focused on one group. You know, if you need to focus on sprint cars, or if you need to focus on making that late model race better race, the track's really too small to have late models on there. Like I said, many of them look like a bunch of boats running around it. They're just big and wide, or maybe boats isn't good enough. Maybe it's RV. I mean, it looks like RVs running around that track, but it starts on the little things. You got to put some legwork in, get some local businesses bought in. Because here, I mean, you come to me and you say, hey, I'm looking for these things. I need a little bit of money for it, but here's what I can do for you. I can get you, you spend a little bit of money with me. I'm going to get you some exposure, your brand some exposure, your name's going to get out there a little bit. We're going to hook you up with a season pass and $5 off a night on concessions. Every time you come, you get one, or if you, depending on your scale of giving, I don't know how, there's a million ways you can set that up, but there's none of that. Nobody outside of the racing community knows what Riverside is. I mean, I grew up and I got into drag racing because I didn't have any buddies that did circle track.
Unfortunately.
Hey, you can say what you want. Drag racing's fun. But you never heard about Riverside.
A lot of people thought it was gone.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that I run into, well, if I tell them, hey, we're racing Riverside, like I have people ask me a lot, like, okay, well, when's your next race? And, here at home or close to home, I said, well, there's a race at Riverside, like right now, it's July 19th. Well, that's the next thing for us. And it's not uncommon for me to hear, oh, I thought that place closed down.
Yep.
A lot of people don't even know it's there.
Well, you got to start promoting it. You got to go out and you got to say, even if you can't get the sponsors up, you got to go approach. Working in Memphis, I was surrounded by these companies, these fleet truck companies. I worked on big trucks when I was in Memphis, and all these fleets would have these events for their employees. It was an employee appreciation. Well, Memphis is full of them. I mean, up until at the time, it was the biggest city as far as freight goes in the United States. FedEx was at the top of its game, and I can't remember the stats on it, but the majority of the freight in the United States that was going in and out of the United States ran through Memphis. So all these trucking companies are compiled in Memphis, and I'm using trucking companies because of what I know. But you walk into that door and you say, hey, I got a group rate. We want you to come out. We want your name on everything. We're going to hook you up. Maybe you can't do it the first night where they pay for the the title of the race, but you get a bunch of small guys out there and they bring 10, 15 guys out to a race at a discount. And now you've got exposure and you just start growing it that way. And I don't know, those things cost money to do, but if you don't have a community name, if your name doesn't, if nobody in the community knows who you are or what you are, you're never going to grow. Because the bottom line is, if you want the track to succeed, it's really not the racers, it's the crowd. It's the fans.
Something Tony Stewart told me. I hung out. I got real lucky, and I got to hang out with him and his dad and Leah at a test a couple years ago in Indianapolis, close to it. And he told me that because we were talking about the success of racetracks and what it takes to run those things, and his whole idea about Eldora was like every race we have is like a major event. He's like, I don't have weekly races. I don't do that. He said every single race that comes to Eldora is a big event. And he's like, basically, there's more than just the race, too. Like, they have other things there going on, like whether it's bands playing or whatever. They've got something happening, and they make it an event. So you don't have to just be like us, a hardcore race fan, to come and watch the race and go home. Like, there needs to be other things to do. But I never really thought about that, but we're kind of going in that direction. I feel like everything's kind of going in that direction. But what solution would you have?
So here the Eldora deal. I mean, that thing is in the middle of nowhere, so you basically have to make that a special event type of thing. You're not just going to go drive out to Rossburg for no reason.
Yeah,
that's pretty much that's out there is the racetracks. You have the special events, and I've noticed as we go different racetracks. All the tracks that are located like out in the country, away from everything, have the best crowds. There's nothing else going on. That's where I feel like Riverside is in a bad spot. You're right there with Memphis. All the entertainment's in Memphis. People are leaving Memphis. So your fan base is leaving Memphis, going further away. They're coming out to Tipton County, where now instead of being 30 minutes away, they're an hour away. They're an hour and 15 minutes away. And so it's a very tough spot that it's in, and I don't have the answer of how you overcome that. I mean, you could go put up flyers in the city of Memphis and pass it around, but we know what Memphis has become. So, do you want to attract some of that over to the racetrack? It's a very, something I think about. And West Memphis is not in a great spot where you drive down the road 2 minutes from the racetrack and you're deep in the hood. You just are.
No.
I mean, you're deep in. You can hear gunshots sometimes when you're in the pits. The races ain't going on. So, I don't know. It's just a tough spot. Like I go back to Crawley's Ridge. Like Crawley's Ridge is in the middle of nowhere. They run stock cars, late models. No, they don't have a massive grandstand, but they fill them up every week.
No.
And I think it maybe costs like $10 to get in the grandstand.
The place is tiny.
And so, I don't know. I just feel like Riverside's in a tough spot where they're at, close to Memphis, a lot of entertainment in Memphis. People are leaving Memphis. So how do you get them to come drive an hour to come do a weekly show where it's 305s? Like local racing is hard to sell now. Like people want the shows. 410's coming, 360's coming, late models coming. Like a local Saturday night show with just your stock cars and your modifieds is a tough sell for anybody. Especially it's expensive to get in them now, which I'm not knocking that because the track's got to make money too. $25 to get in the stands, $35 for the pits.
Mm-hmm.
That's expensive to come see your 6 305s that you have now.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. It's hard to sell a local weekly product.
It's expensive. I mean, if you have wife, kid, or if it's you, your wife, and if you have 2 or 3 kids come with you,
it's expensive to come. That's what they'll save their money for the bigger events. Like you have 360s come, you'll see a better crowd. You have 410s come, you'll have better crowds. It's not much of a late model track, so when we have had late models, they're not that great. But like I've seen constantly, you promote the bigger shows, you can get people over there. It's just hard to sell weekly racing now.
I think that part of that comes with that exposure. You've got to get people in the gate because you can't. At the end of the day, Riverside's got a bottom dollar it has to make every night that it's open. Otherwise, it's losing money, and it is a business. So, if you've got 100 people coming and it costs $35 a head to get in, well, at 1,000 people, if you can get 1,000 people in the door, that 35 head gets divided by another 0. And you can make the same money at $350 a head, right? Is that right? $3.50, 35. I can't remember. Anyway, you get the point.
Heather, where's your calculator?
Yeah, put that in there. It's too late in the day for me to be doing this math.
Say that again.
Anyway, and not that when you get to 1,000, you're not going to drop the rate down to $3.50 to make up the difference. What you're going to do is but you have the option to make more margin at less money. That's the thing about drag racing that I've noticed growing up. I don't think I ever paid more than $40 to get in an event, and as a spectator, but your general admission gets you in the pits. You know, most of the time it did anyway. But $40 for a sprint car race is pretty normal. I mean, $35, $40, just about everywhere you go, that's what it's going to cost to get in.
Even for major events. To me, yeah, the
Even
major.
for a low level night, what's Riverside? Isn't it 30?
He said it's 25 for like a regular night,
It's
and then
25.
35 to get the pits.
I think it's
Well,
like,
yeah.
I think it's 20 for a regular night, maybe.
Oh, is it?
And then for a special, maybe 25.
Either
something
way.
like that. But,
So you're right. It does come down to who am I bringing with me? Because when you're, if it's not your direct family or they're not inputting on your team, it's hard to ask somebody to come out and spend $25 to sit in the stands and not see you all night. Whereas when you're drag racing, and I'm just using drag racing because it's what I know, but man, I don't know anybody that races for real that doesn't bring 10 people with them.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is maybe a lot of it falls back on us. Like, if just think about it. If everybody that goes on a weekly basis or out, like us, hardcore fans that go all the time, if everybody could just bring one person, and I have yet to bring one person. Well, maybe there was one, but when they leave, they don't go, man, I want to come back. When Cody went to the outlaw race at the end of last year, he's like, man, I can't wait to see this again. He loved it, and I've yet to have that issue. There's a little story there. I took a girl long time ago to a race just to kind of test things out and see if she liked it. And when we left, she was like, yes, all right. She didn't last long after that, but but everybody else I've ever carried loves it. So like if everybody put more effort in, and maybe we could bring one or two people, bring them in the gate, get them involved.
Let me ask you, how many times has Cody been back?
Well, he hadn't had a chance.
That's what I'm saying. What's his barrier to entry? That's what you got to find out. Was it the $35 to get in the pit?
What do you mean?
I mean, so if he loved it, I love it.
Yeah.
I've been back.
Yeah.
I paid to be on your crew last year.
Well, hang on. So the race he went to was the last one. Okay, it was
Fair.
it was the last one of the year.
Fair. That is fair
And
point.
the only one he could have came to was the night we got rained out, right?
Well, we've had 2 Riverside races.
No, we have had 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was gone to Cancun, the other one. Right?
Nuh-uh.
Was it
No,
not?
he was here for both of them. He was in town for both of them. I'm not trying to pick on Cody.
Yeah.
I'm just using him as an example. I knew he hadn't been back.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between, like, my parents have gone, and I use my uncle because my uncle did used to go every now and then. My uncle enjoys it. He likes to go out there. If I call him on the phone, if I call him Saturday and say, hey, you want to go? He'll probably go. But And when he leaves, he's got that reaction. Man, that was fun. That was a good time at the racetrack. But what is the barrier? And why isn't he going back the next weekend?
Yeah.
I think it's the community. I think if you don't have a tie to it, I think if there's no ties in the community that are spreading out, it's not going to grow. And it's not your job as the racer to create that. You're already bringing in a crowd to an extent.
No, but isn't it?
Mm-mm.
Well, hang on.
No, because you are a consumer. You're a consumer of the track. The track owner is responsible for marketing you. He's supposed to use you. Now, if you're a big name, obviously, yeah. But on an average Friday night, you take sprints out of it and you put all the stock cars out there. Ain't nobody to come and see Johnny and Ron run for, unless it's their cousin.
Run for $400.
Yeah, nobody cares about that. But it's your job as the track owner to come out and say, hey, this weekend, Johnny and Ron, they've been going at it for months. and it's coming down. We got a big payout. They're running for 500 this weekend. Y'all come out and see it.
Well, it's just
Well,
like
again,
when-
that's like what Brad was talking about, though, is how can Riverside be the identity of West Memphis? Because what's West Memphis's identity right now? So it's
Thugs.
burnt down hotels and
and then you got the
casinos
casino. Yeah.
and a casino.
Mm-hmm.
So how can they find a way to be
That
the
would-
identity of
That
this?
would be one connection I would like to see make is the casino track connection. Something like, I don't know, you have somebody going to the casino this weekend, you could have free passes for them to come to check out the racetrack. Yeah, maybe they're an out of towner, but they're going to come back to the casino eventually, and maybe they'll come back and check out the races that time. I would like to see the casino track find a way to connect each other. But I guess it wouldn't be much. Casino wouldn't get much benefit out of it because people are going to go to the casino, but trying to get people to pull from the casino to come to the racetrack, I would like to see something attempted there. And I thought about, I don't know, like I said, have somebody set up there and passing out pit passes when they're walking in the door. Like, hey, we got this going on down the road this weekend. You got some time, come by and check us out. Something to that effect. I would like to see that, but that's about what West Memphis has with that casino, So,
I've heard ideas of, $20 a car. So if you can fit 10 people in a car and you come in, you got $20 for that car.
I do
Walk
like
in.
those ideas. We were at Farmington a couple
I
weeks
was just
ago.
about to bring that up.
And they did $5 grandstand night, and the thing was slam packed on the front straightaway grandstand. $5 night. I would
But
love to
everybody's
see
got to
that.
know,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Riverside is nowhere
Well,
if you're not plugged into it.
Well, I think it kind of goes Farmington. Everybody in that area knows about that racetrack, but it's just hard to get the weekly fan over there now without a little bit of incentive, like $5 night. I'm gonna bring my family now, but regular night is $25 for me to get in. So it's very hard for me to bring my family on top of everything else I got going on nowadays. So I don't know. It's just a lot of different factors are playing into it right now.
Yeah, and with the small town, it's easy for a track in a small town to be the identity of that town.
That's where it is.
But the other thing is an advantage of being in a big regional area like Memphis, because Memphis itself is a regional area. You still have to your advantage just the sheer amount of people there.
Yeah.
And
Huge market.
Riverside just from an outsider's perspective just needs to capitalize on that.
I was gonna say it has probably more
Yeah.
potential than
Yeah.
most dirt tracks.
Yeah.
And we need to figure out how to tie into that. And I
think
still
it's huge. I think then it's the fact that it's right there off the interstate. I mean, you can get to it that quick, that easy. You talk about people getting here from Tipton County. I'm over on 14. I hop on 14, hit the interstate, cross the river, and I'm there. Really, it ain't but 45 minutes the way I drive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an easy drive. I'd rather do that. You're talking about going back and forth between drag racing and dirt track. If you're at the dirt track, I'd rather go hang out with you than go hang out with nobody an hour and 15 at Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean,
I still think we hold a little bit of responsibility. I know you said we're the consumer, but we also need them there. Like we also need to be representing these racetracks and trying to get people to come. Like it's still on us to a degree. We still need to be, we need to be the face of
Well,
places like that.
you need to do a good job at what you do, and you need to spread the word that you're racing. But at the end of the day, you have no control over how he, or not just he, but the owner of any track, you have no control over how they manage their business.
Yeah.
And that's what you really have to break it down where you're buying a service from him at Riverside, and then everything he makes from the gate is entertainment. But you as the racer are purchasing a service from him. So a good business model, and I know that the margins are extremely skewed on all this stuff, and without having actual numbers and stuff to go off of, we can't really talk about it. But if I was running my business off of entertainment, I really would want to have my entertainers cover. If I'm, you're coming in to use my track, I want you to cover my cost of operation. And then everything from the gate goes in my till. And I don't know. Your gate money is where you get rich.
I guess
Racers help that.
I think it depends though, is it because everybody does it different, you know. Well, usually it's whenever the series comes in, like you. Now you back me up on this because I'm not exactly sure, but isn't some series like they get gate money and the track gets concession money, or like how everybody does something a little bit different though? But it depends on who's coming in, or
Yeah, most of the series that come in, they get like a flat fee up front, and you pretty much get everything else. You pay the
you just
fee,
pay the series and then
you pay the series fee. Some of them have little extras. Like I know Pete wants you to pay his past champions when they come, no matter who that may be. He wanted Eddie Gallagher to get paid one time, and that was in like 1999. So they
Dang.
have little things like that that could be done as well. But I mean, really, most of the series they have their fee. They pay you. You pay them the fee, and they pay the purse and stuff like that. Is the way I believe I understand that. But a lot of it now, honestly, is getting to be track rentals. Like the World Racing Group is basically they go and rent the tracks and put the shows on themselves. The track owners really aren't taking the risk anymore because it's gotten so expensive to bring in those big shows. Their sanctioning fees are, God, a whole lot of money. And so
You gotta have everything to support the media behind it.
and so it's gotten into a lot of rental tracks and things like that. You need to give that track owner a certain amount of money. You just bring the show in yourself. And so I don't know. Racing's not dead. You see all the big shows, they're back.
Yeah,
But
we're sitting here talking about all the races that
like we said,
it's races this past weekend that paid so much money.
But like it's also not 1970 anymore when we only had 3 channels on the TV. We didn't have 50 million streaming services of HBO Max and all these other things. So people went to the races because like, hey, what are we going to do tonight?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to the races because that's what we're going to do. Well, now we got tons of entertainment. I'm not even saying sports entertainment. There's TV entertainment. I can sit on my couch, DoorDash a meal to my house, and call it a night and be good. I'm not going anywhere. So we face those challenges too. But you put the right show on in place, people will get up and come out and spend their money for that, or they're just saving their money for those specials because that's all they can afford right now.
Right.
So, there's a lot of
factors.
that go into it. It's just, back in the 70s, you saw packed tracks all the time. Well, there wasn't a whole lot to do on a weekend.
And it brought the Dale documentary did a good job of explaining that it brought professional sports. It brought the community of professional sports into areas that it wasn't before. Because every town had a little small track.
Yeah.
And anybody could be anybody. Anybody could go run anybody on the weekends.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, is that seen videos? I don't remember if it's Cletus or not, but there's a short paved track that has spectator racing.
People love that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that brings the community back because now, I mean, even getting into a factory stock or a hobby stock car,
Oh, it's a
you're
blind.
gonna
It'd be-
spend you're gonna spend $10,000 or $15,000 doing it, but you can come out to those things, and you can run a lap around the track, basically a circle track drag race,
Yeah.
in your daily.
See, and I thought that's what was great about like Memphis, the pavement track when it was around. You had the Rusty Wallace drive-on experience or whatever it was called. People could rent and come and make laps in a real race car and around the racetrack, and they're going probably half as fast, but they get out and go, wow, this is what these guys do. Like gives them an experience. And I've actually suggested that. Thought, why couldn't we have something similar to that at a dirt track? Where if you schedule something like that where people can come out and actually feel what a sprint car drive's like or a late model. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Ken Schrader does that at Peevely, because when we were leaving Peevely after an outlaw race one Sunday morning, we slept there that night and then got up. We were going to come home the next morning. There were modifieds being unloaded off this trailer, and there were actually people getting in them and making laps. Like they weren't racers by any means. As a matter of fact, I want to say it was like a company had like rented the racetrack and rented the cars, and they were making laps in those cars.
See, a lot of these tracks are owned by old heads that are used to the old way, and they don't want to. And I don't blame them at all for any of this, but old heads don't want to work harder. They've been working hard their whole life, So they don't want to work harder to meet the demands of not a dying sport, but
just
a
changing.
dying connection.
It's
You're not
changing.
connecting to the average person anymore. When you got basketball, baseball, and football on the TV all the time, you got all these other things you can go enjoy. And I mean, it's hard to get out there and hustle up, but that's what it's going to take is hustling up. I mean,
Well, it's also we got our own streaming services that stream races every weekend, and say for instance, I'll just use Riverside Saturday night program as modified stock cars, 305s, mini sprints. Well, am I going to spend my $25 to go watch the local Saturday night show, or I'm going to just sit on my couch, watch the Outlaws, High Limit, all going on the same night from the comfort of my own home for my $150 a year? So that is a challenge. Streaming is helping racing, put money into racing and building it up, but it does hurt your weekly racing because they'll come for the specials, like I said, but when it comes to just your normal Saturday night, most people will stay home and just watch their flow racing or their dirt vision, which you can take your phone, you can watch it in the grandstands. Most people just aren't going to do that,
Well, we have the luxury, like you're talking about, and when people have the option now, they, it's just like us. Everyday people that go to work, they've been out in the heat all day, they're tired, and they're like, I'd really just like to go home and sit in the air and eat a meal, and I can turn it on and watch it on TV, So I get the temptation, but like Will went to his first race ever. He's never been to any race of any kind until this past weekend. And was that not way different? You've seen videos for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
And is not the at-track experience is way different than any video you'll ever watch.
Oh, 100%. On the way here tonight, I actually called my grandmother. They live in Mississippi now, and they knew that I was involved with this, and I was talking to them. I was like, I went to my first race, and she was telling me how growing up, they went to Riverside every weekend, kind of like how you were talking about. Back in the 70s, 80s, they didn't have nothing else to do, so they would go. And honestly, I don't know, this might be a good question. Do you think that the reason the people that used to go don't go now is because they think it's a young person sport now? Or do you think it's because they just, like, I don't know, they just don't want to go? I mean, because I told them on the way here, I was like, yeah, I think we're racing like July 18th or 19th at Riverside, and kind of just putting a thought in their head. But I might talk to them and say, hey, y'all should come and see how it is. And just, I think, I went to my first race, and I saw, different age groups of, like, there were a variety of age groups, but I don't know. I don't know where I was necessarily going with that, but more so the fact of just like, do you think that the modern day technology of like streaming the races and just the variety of entertainment we have has killed the sport?
That's what we were talking about. It
hasn't killed it. It's
And
just made it harder to connect.
It's make or break right now.
It's
Yeah.
basically, we're trying to figure out a way to get both. We want to be able to stream. Like, I want somebody to be able to watch the race that's, 8 hours away if they want to watch it. But I also want, the people that are close by to pick, coming to the races over staying home and watching it when they're 45 minutes from home. You know what I mean?
I think we do have a little bit of a problem too with Facebook Live. I know I've been guilty of doing it, going Facebook Live at the racetrack. I've actually had people that come to the races for years. I mean, I'm talking was one of my biggest fans, came to races all the time, stopped coming because they could just watch it on Facebook Live. So I don't Facebook Live anymore because of that. That's one reason why I don't do that anymore. It's because, other people do it, so I really don't affect much because you can go on Dale Howard's Facebook Live or whatever and watch it. I've been guilty of it too. I've been like, we've been rained out. Like, man, I'm gonna go to Riverside and be like, I can watch it on Facebook Live and then not go. Like, I'm guilty of it too. So I think that plays a little bit of a factor in it as well.
You heard it here, folks. Dale and Taylor Howard, y'all are responsible. People not showing up.
There's plenty of it. There's like, We call
Oh,
it night vision.
I'm gonna get a
Night
message.
vision is probably one of the best Facebook live streams you could watch. They don't come to Riverside now. They got mad, but Dylan Knight's wife was one of the most entertaining Facebook lives you can ever watch in
I
your life.
agree.
Like, and they should just take Riverside should just take that feed.
Just turn the cameras around.
Try to get them to come back and just start streaming that. That'll get people to come to the races.
Yeah, just turn the cameras around.
I'll
and
have to
get
send y'all some
reactions.
videos of night vision. It's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
we could pull it up, but it's probably not a good idea. There's a lot of foul language in there, but it's entertaining.
I mean, there's a streaming's issue. Facebook Live is an issue to an extent. I mean, you only see that one car, but you can still kind of tell what's going on.
Yeah.
And I kind of think you have your diehard fans who have been. You see them at Riverside still. Like their old men will be there at 5:30 in the afternoon, burning up, just like it's the '60s, waiting for the races. Well, they're like super diehard, and I think you've had some diehard where they were diehards. They stopped coming for a little while. And they were like, "Well, I didn't need this as bad as I thought I did," so they don't come back. It's kind of like I used to go to the gym and lift weights every day. And then one day I didn't go, and I was like, "That wasn't so bad. I don't need this after all." And in 10 years, I hadn't been back to the damn gym with weights.
Yeah.
So I think you have your diehards who went year after year after year. Well, some other entertainment started coming in. They started doing some of that, and they were like, "Well, I'm not missing that much," And so they just kind of stopped coming and fall off. And now you got to try to recycle it, but how do you get the younger folks in there? I hear people talk all the time about we got to get young people involved. I agree, but they have to have a parent bring them. So you got to get parents involved as well.
It's kind of like the whole Disney thing. Disney was trying to sell all this LGBTQ plus whatever they got going on, all that crap, and they're trying to sell this to the kids, but the parents are in control of the Disney Plus, and if the parents are sitting there watching this and they're going, "Buzz Lightyear's gay? Yeah, I think we're going to cut this off," and they don't play it no more. So you got to sell to, like you said, you got to sell to the parents, the people that actually bring the kids, and Riverside has the foot races and things like that. They try to get the kids involved and things like that, but
it's got to be more than if you can sit at home and watch your Facebook Live and get the same experience as being at the track. That's the track's fault.
Yeah.
That ain't nobody but the track's fault. I mean,
yeah,
are you right,
gonna
Brad?
do? Walk around and start taking everybody's phones if they're
no, I'm not saying
like
that. I'm saying the track should be so good. No, absolutely not. I don't think it should be a problem at all for Brad to provide his fans that can't make it with an opportunity to watch the race. I think that's
I wouldn't say they couldn't make it. They stopped coming because they could just watch it on Facebook.
That's what I'm saying, though. If the track is so lousy that it's better to sit at home. I've never been to a race. It's better to watch at home.
Right.
I never have.
And that was my argument earlier. It's like, that's why I was asking Will. It's like, is it not that much better because it's fresh?
But
for
here's
him.
the thing, Brandon. I've been watching racing. I used to make my parents mad because I was the only person in the house that watched racing. They want to watch something else.
Yeah.
And I love it. I truly love it.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the average viewer, like baseball. I'm an average baseball viewer. I like the game. I know the game. I love going to watch it. Am I going to AutoZone Park every weekend? Nope. You call me to go? Yeah, I'm in. I'm going to go give me some barbecue nachos and watch some baseball.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the experience. But
that's actually
how
not
are
a bad
they?
comparison.
Well, how are they going to get me in the gate again? They're going to add in. I mean, AutoZone Park actually does a pretty good job of having different nights. $2 hot dog night. That's a good night to get me to go.
Yeah.
I don't even like hot dogs, but it's
So-
cheap.
Yeah,
You actually-
fireworks, win or lose.
Fireworks
Yeah.
on Friday nights or Saturday nights
Yeah.
all summer long. They're packing the stands
Yeah.
with these kids and families.
You actually just you made something kind of click for me. So like, I'm like you, but I like events. I like events. I just enjoy going. But like Grizzly games, I don't watch basketball. I don't care about it. I couldn't tell you the first player for the Grizzlies, but the atmosphere
It's a party, baby.
is fun.
Yep.
We went several years ago, and I had a blast. But why do I not go back? It's because of the freaking place it's in. I don't like going to Memphis. I don't like going downtown.
Yep.
I don't like having to feel like I'm having to look over my shoulder every time I'm going through the garage or walking down the street. I just don't like going down there. And I feel like most people feel that way. But you don't have that at Riverside, or at least I don't think.
No,
Yeah, I'm not worried down
it's
there.
just there's nothing going on for 80% of the night. There's nothing going on. Truthfully, if you're not in the pits and watching guys work, you're sitting in the stands and you're talking to the buddy next to you because you're waiting on them to dress the track or you're waiting on them to get the next group in. And they've been a little bit better about it.
I think
The back half of
every
last
track
year.
has that issue.
Yeah.
though. I mean, that
But that's what I'm saying.
downtime-
You talk about
downtime was the biggest
when-
issue, for sure.
when Tony Stewart is having these big events. I guarantee you there's something going on.
Yeah.
In between everything.
Then
I
he
guarantee
drama.
there's something.
Then he fights.
You think we should? You think we should just manufacture those?
I think
Yes,
so.
you
Like
should.
WWE
You
stuff.
think me and Brad should just next race? You know what? You sorry sucker! I just get out, put yank him out of the car, and start.
Yeah.
I would quit racing.
Well, look
I
at
can't do
like,
that.
look, isn't it?
What about Bowman Gray?
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate that too.
I know,
It's-
but they're
it's too,
packed.
it's too
I get it,
much.
But
I
they're
hate it.
packed. The
I know.
stands are packed.
I know, but that's different. That's people that like. That's people that like WWE. They like the fight. They like the
But that's-
controversy.
I
That's
feel like that hurt.
But it
legitimate
don't-
racing as
yeah.
well, 'cause they-
I don't take it seriously as far as the racing goes.
Right.
Like when I watch
Like-
somebody with a full body car go out there and just demolition it into other people, I'm thinking to myself like, who has to fix that? Are you going home to fix that just because you got pissed off? Like that doesn't make it. That just.
But
it's
from a
stupid.
business standpoint, if you're getting your gates, I mean, if
Well,
you-
for
if you're
Bowman Gray,
jumping-
it's good.
That's
but-
what I'm saying. Where's I'm not saying that we need to have a demolition derby, although. If have you watched the stock cars at Riverside?
Yeah,
It
well,
basically is
The
a
super
demolition
lanes
derby.
were really bad,
But if you have that kind of, if you find somewhere in the middle there, nobody wants, especially down here, we're all blue collar paying our way. Nobody needs their car wrecked at the end of the night. But if there's a little bit of excitement because there's a little bit of door rubbing, and you just tell two guys, "Hey guys, let's
Well, they
spice it
tell-
up tonight.
yeah,
let's
but they
let's
tell
spice
us they tell us all the time if you're gonna fight, do it on a racetrack.
Yep.
So that everybody can see, just like Chili Bowl. You know, like if you'll just do it on the racetrack, don't do it up at the top of the ramp. Just do it on the racetrack.
People love it.
Yeah.
They eat it up.
Yeah, yeah.
They eat it up. And the NASCAR viewership goes up anytime there's. I mean, Hocevar and Stenhouse. There's more viewers tuned in right now.
Yeah.
I texted you yesterday. They were running 3 and 4,
Yeah.
and everybody was waiting.
It's just
Everybody was
like-
waiting for Hocevar to do something stupid because it was going to go down if they did.
I said something about this on the last one, but I was like, one of my favorite fights was Wayne and Aaron fighting, and Aaron throwing that bicycle. Wayne, and had that been on the, like, I know a bicycle wouldn't have been out there, but had that been on the front straightaway, that'd have been money.
It's been hilarious.
It's been fun.
And then you go home, and tomorrow or whatever it is, you're sitting there, you're at work on Monday, and you're talking about what you did over the weekend, and you get to talk about that. And then it's like, hey, I got these 9 guys I work with, and they're interested in coming to the track now. 2 of them are going to come, not all 9,
Yeah.
but it's 2 more people you didn't have before, just because there's a little bit of excitement. But when you do, really, in today's world,
I feel like dirt track racing doesn't need that. Bowman Gray is like boring, so you have to have that.
well,
Dirt
so is
track
Riverside.
The racing,
You're
the
right.
racing's
The
a lot
racing-
better at Riverside.
Yeah, the
So-
racing is,
Yeah.
but you only have, if you're there
They have to have
from
a
5 to midnight, you're only watching an hour's worth of racing.
I mean, I guess you
More
can go
than that.
watch somebody, but fans that come,
You're seeing with everything combined, you may, well, I mean, you add in heat races and all that, you may watch a little bit more than that, but you're not watching the majority of the time you're there, you're sitting doing nothing. And people don't want to do that. The average attention span is like 30 seconds now. They're having people have the song industry is having a hard time getting people to stay engaged in the song that's 3 minutes long.
I don't know. I don't think that's a bit of a stretch. I don't think we're sitting
You're
there that long.
You're thinking about it you're racing.
Well, that's true.
And you're also
We're busy.
thinking about it from an avid fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I go sit at the track and not watch anything.
I guess
There used to be nights where somebody'd paint the drag strip down with a trans leak, and it'd take an hour and a half to clean it up. I didn't leave. I waited till they got the track back hot. But if you're not an avid fan, I didn't have a single girlfriend that want to sit through an hour and a half. My wife, she ain't gonna want to sit through an hour and a half of nothing to wait for 2 more cars to go down the track. You know, it just takes you got to find that medium. I do understand what you're saying. Bowman Gray is a single file line.
Yeah.
Once they get single filed out, you pretty much got to knock somebody out of the way and have that stuff in there to make that racing exciting. And Riverside brings a good race.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all.
Even when it's rough, like even when it is rough, it's single file. It can still get really interesting at any time.
Yeah, the racing product is great. It's just the volume of a night. It's 20%. I'll time it next time we go to the track. I'll time how much
I guess I need
cars
to
on the track
pay
for
more
dead
attention.
time.
Yeah.
And we'll just see and get an actual estimate. It may be a little bit higher than 20%, but you've got a lot of dead time where if you're not going to attract a single viewer because they're not going to want to go sit and do nothing in all the dead time. If you bring, it's got to be two people that really love the sport.
Riverside has their intermission, but everything else pretty much rolls. I mean, I've been over there as a band, just up there drinking beer. I mean, they roll pretty good, until we get to intermission. And of course, they'll shut that down. But I mean, I feel like Riverside rolls pretty well. I don't have a whole lot of
I feel like if you've got enough classes, you don't really need the intermission unless you're working the track, unless you actually have to do something to the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, I would do away with intermission all day, but the kids do like the foot race. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind that. It's just, we could critique it all day long. You're never going to get the correct answer. But,
Yeah. Why we need to ask Clayton Allen to just come here, just shoot every one of these ideas at him, and just see. I'd be real interested to see his answer to everything.
You know what I'd love?
I'll be Clayton. No, I'll tell you what he's going to say.
You know what I'd love for him to say? Come do it.
That's what he's going to do.
Oh yeah, I'm about that.
I mean, if we could work out a legitimate way to, I'm not going to do it for free, but you compensate me. Let's do it. Let's roll. Let's try something.
Even Tim. Tim's a new track owner. Tim could. I'm sure Tim has a lot to say about it too. I've seen him say on social media and things like that. Well, you don't like I do it, come do it. Come do it yourself. So
I do have a question though. So we're talking about like dead time, and we're kind of dealing with the fact, okay, we're close to Memphis, right? Could you not potentially get these up and coming artists to come to the track and sing? Hey, guess what? Everybody loves music, so guess what? Get these up and coming artists to come out there. You give them a little bit of money, and guess what? You keep people entertained during the time when there's dead time.
I've actually suggested
It's a
that
little
idea.
footwork. It's
Yeah.
just a little footwork.
I've suggested that idea to some folks. I'm like, why couldn't you just have a band? Because there's plenty of room behind the big grandstand on the front straightaway. You got all that room. You could have a band out there that plays.
He did do that when he started. He had a stage in the little courtyard there.
Yeah.
And he would have people playing, which now I won't say they're up and coming artists, but he would bring people over there to play music and nobody would care.
Well, Charlie Crockett. Why don't we get Charlie to
Well, I
come
don't
play?
have that much money. You know, trucking over there.
Brad had a really good week this week. So we revealed the gender of the baby coming in, but he also got to hear Charlie Crockett on Joe Rogan. He was so excited at Charlie Crockett.
It was underwhelming.
It was actually really good.
Joe just gets to talking about the same 5 things he's been talking about the last year.
Yeah.
Charlie Crockett really didn't care to talk about none of that.
Yeah, it's either COVID, aliens,
he kept trying to pull him into it.
mushrooms.
I was like, he got to talking about
What'd you
the,
say?
Gorillas.
Gorillas.
he got to talking about the COVID shot, and Charlie was just like, change the subject.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the COVID shot with you. That was very disappointed.
But I do think that you said he's already tried it, but I don't know. That was one of the ideas I had. I've had a couple, but
There's not a one fix wonder.
right.
There's just not going to be, and it's not one of those things that you're going to see immediate returns on. I don't think, because you're going to have to really reprogram people. Riverside's got to be a household name. When you're sitting there and there's nothing going on, what are we going to do tonight? Well, you going to go to Riverside?
Mm-hmm.
That's what needs to happen. And until all the little things will help. You get a little entertainment in between events. You get a little bit of even if nobody likes it. That's why you don't bring a big band in. You bring a $500 show in on a Saturday night.
I don't know. They need to be somewhat good.
It's Memphis. You can get a good $500 show.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Well, you just got to make it entertaining the whole time. It doesn't necessarily have to be music. The food's got to be good.
Yep. It's got to
Drink's got to be cold. I mean, it's
all
got
these
to be a
things
full
got to
package
go around with it.
deal.
Well, no, racetrack food's pretty good. I love
I
race.
mean, I don't know. I didn't when I went there. I didn't eat anything.
What? You didn't get anything?
I can't remember.
Man, the food at the racetrack, I'm telling you, it's one of the best. One
That's
thing I
what I'm
loved
saying,
about
like, you
I-30
get
was the mozzarella sticks. That was the best thing about I-30. Wasn't even a racetrack. It was mozzarella sticks.
I mean, your Memphis barbecue is legendary.
All right. So I do want to make one quick rant, real quick. We were talking about it earlier, guys. If you're on social media and you see a post about Bubba Wallace talking about the white flag
Word. He's gonna bring more attention to it right now.
and how
Here we go.
he wants to change it or get rid of it, it is fake.
Just let him
Joey
be done,
Logano.
Brandon.
Are we
Just
sure
let him
it's
be
fake?
done.
Joey Logano is not out there feeding all the homeless by himself and whatever else is out there. Like, would you please take 3 seconds to look into whatever it is you're seeing, because it's probably not real.
My favorite meme of the week was the Joey Logano, the Yankees bringing Joey Logano up to celebrate Pride.
Celebrate Pride. Exactly.
Hilarious.
That's what I'm saying.
Hilarious.
It's funny, but I can sit there and look at it and I know that that's not real. It's just like the Weber Valley Facebook page. It's entertaining, it's funny, but a lot of people will sit there and look at that because it does look real if you're not paying
That's what
close
you
enough
want.
attention.
That's what you want.
But good
We need to
grief.
make one about Brandon Hanks.
AI
talking-
Brandon Hanks.
talking about the Facebook the is it the Not Real Clayton Allen? I love that page. It's so funny. I love that page.
Telling you, man.
And it's not Clayton Allen, but whoever made it is genius because it's
entertaining,
funny.
for sure.
Yeah, and there's a couple of them out there. Oh shoot, what was the other ones on Twitter?
There's a bunch of them on
Well, there's a bunch of them on Twitter.
Johnny Wingo.
Johnny Wingo was. I think Johnny Wingo was the one I was thinking of.
That's a good one.
Well, boys, what y'all think y'all want to go start working on a race car, get ready for next weekend?
I reckon so. I think we need to do that.
I just got to go clean my helmet and get ready for next week.
Yeah. Must be nice.